Hi, I'm Eric Stark here for another week of LL League football with our insider for the LL League, Ed Gruver. Ed, week 4 is the kickoff of the LL League season. Now they go against each other unless none of these non-league games anymore. Right. Let's look back, though, for a second, week 3. Some surprising notes. I'll give you a couple of mine first. Conestoga Valley lost, but it was an impressive game, 30-25. At one point, Ellis had to come back in the third quarter of that game. Ellis is not a bad team at all. I was curious to see how CV would respond because Solanco beat the week before, and CV didn't look so good in that game. To lose to an LS with a pretty good aerial attack by CV, that's impressive to me. Pequea Valley, 2-1 now. Could have been 3-0. 2 overtimes against Octavera. And the quarterback falls at the goal line. They hold him back from going into that. From what I read from Matt Blymeier's story, we're talking within centimeters of going to a third overtime. So I'm curious now, how do the Braves respond? Do they lose this week and go 2-2, or do they get that record above, keep it above, way above 500? They're on the verge of a good season here. And then Garden Spot, 3-0 right now. Mitch Martin. I joked with him in the offseason. We did a fake video goofing around. I should have been serious with this guy. This guy has put up some serious numbers.
Yeah.
4 TDs so far this year. He went 16 of 33 passing on Friday, 240 yards. But for the year, Ed, do you know this? 780 yards, 10 TDs, and that's in 3 games.
Right.
And Lancaster Catholic, first win of the year. What stands out to you about that one?
Not so much that it was the first win of the year for them, just the way they won. 49-14 over Littlestown. The mercy rule invoked in the second half. So Catholic, it looked like they put their game together last week. How much of that was Catholic? How much of that was Littlestown? I think we'll find out this week when they play Garden Spot.
Great matchup there. Garden Spot 3-0 against Catholic High. You know, people are going to say, well, this is the kind of points they should have been putting up. Jim Contaffy is the offensive coordinator. But you know what? Catholic, last I checked, has like 41 players out. Littlestown's the kind of team they should be playing. They're going to match up player personnel-wise better than playing Governor Mifflin the other week, which is a powerhouse right now in Berks.
They definitely played up their first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Governor Mifflin, very good team. Dallastown, a much bigger team than Lancaster Catholic, numbers-wise and physically. So Catholic now will be more, like you said, kind of on their own footing, playing AAA teams in Section 2.
Let's get into it, though. Game of the week, Garden Spot and Lancaster Catholic. Talk to me about the styles and what you expect to see in this game.
Like you said, I think a lot of offense.
Yeah.
Mitch Martin doing a great job at quarterback for Garden Spot, spreading the wealth around. He's got 3 really good receivers, Darryl Hartman, Zach Reed, and Javon McIntyre. Those 3 kids have combined for 9 touchdown catches.
Nice.
And offensively for Lancaster Catholic, Nasir Weaver is doing a great job. 5 touchdowns and averaging 8.3 yards a carry and over 114 yards per game. So you're going to have a kind of like a passing offense for Garden Spot, rushing offense for Lancaster Catholic. It should be a good matchup.
I'm curious to see what the defenses do there. Is that going to be a high-scoring game?
You would think, but sometimes when you think that, the opposite happens, and who knows, it could be a 14-10 game.
2 more observations so far. Wilson's 3-0, and they've played some really good competition. What was it, overtime against Mifflin week 1? And then last week was a really close game against Central Dauphin, who's
come from behind win against Central Dauphin.
Yeah, and I think CD East was in between there. So they've played some strong schools. And were we expecting it this year? How?
Well, I know Doug Doms probably wasn't expecting it. Judging from his media day comments, he thought they might be a little bit down from what they have been because they graduated so much talent. But I mean, that's a football program. They plug kids in year after year, and the results speak for themselves.
Other matchups this week, there's a couple other good ones I've circled on my calendar. Can you talk to me about them?
Sure. Penn Manor Hempfield, Section 1 opener, should be a great game. Penn Manor 2-1, Hempfield undefeated 3-0. I think the interesting thing here is going to be the defense of both teams. 2 kids for Penn Manor stood out. Ashton Leshke, 15 tackles last week against Dallastown. That's impressive.
Need a massage after that.
Yeah. Brent Neely, 9 stops in that game. And then you have a Hempfield team that just continues to force turnovers. 4 more last week against Central York.
Wow.
Both these teams are good in offense, but I think defense might dictate the tempo in this game.
That's interesting. You got Lebanon going to Cocalico. It's your third matchup.
Yeah, and this is really interesting because there's probably no more dramatic coaching opposites in the LL than Lebanon with Jerry Yonchek's air raid offense and Cocalico with Dave Gingrig's Veer offense. It's air attack versus its ground-bound attack. And the interesting thing is both these teams lost a lot of talent last year.
Mm-hmm.
Lebanon graduated Mark Piles, a big 33 quarterback. Calico graduated Jet Janis and Spencer Moser, and that cast that they had. But they're plugging new faces in, and they're still getting good results.
So what does that tell you? It's not the players, it's the...
Yeah, it's a system.
Okay.
It's not the stars, it's the system. And,
Mm-hmm.
I think both coaches deserve a lot of credit. And this should be a real interesting game as well.
And you have a feature coming up later this week, sir.
On Lebanon's offense.
Offense. We'll be previewing that game a little bit within that, yeah. Got to mention Thursday night, Donegal and Anvil. Thursday night
game.
Football, that should be good.
Yeah.
Oh, Calico played last Thursday,
Right,
correct?
so they have an extra day to prepare, actually, for this week.
Yeah, that could be a big factor in this, too. Lebanon, beginning of their players said, hey, don't take us for granted. We're not just Mark Piles. They go out and lose to Cedar Crest week 1, and I'm going, They've come back and won the last 2.
Yeah.
And
they've done it with a kid who was not their starting quarterback in week 1.
Okay.
Justin Martin has come on for the injured Cody Kissinger and has done a great job.
Okay, but if you're not just Mark Piles, you got to beat Calico this
Right,
week.
sure.
That's a key. The other thing is, I think we've gone through all the big matchups. Is there anything else standing out to you?
Just the fact that this is week 1 of the league season, and I think we're going to find out a lot about a lot of teams.